Continuing with the theme of building a better worldview, let's go to a video of an ex-Christian mocking atheism. Just a heads up, major language warning for the rest of the episode.
Some people think God created the universe. Some people think nothing created the universe, which is the funniest guess. And the nothing people make fun of the God people. They say God doesn't exist. I'm like, okay, maybe. But you know what definitely doesn't exist? Nothing. That's the defining characteristic of nothing, is that it doesn't exist. So what are we talking about? Either you think it's God, something you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove, or you think it's nothing, something you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove. But I think we can all agree, if your nothing sometimes spontaneously erupts into everything, that's a pretty goddamn magical fucking nothing, you guys.
Okay, a couple of quick points. I'm not certain that God can't be scientifically proven. There are a lot of things you can't scientifically measure that you can, in fact, prove. Cave paintings and arrowheads archaeologically would prove that there was some sort of primitive human civilization there. And similarly, the fine-tuning of the universe, the mathematical structure of the universe, the fact that there's information in the cell. I'm not going to develop any of those right now, but just simply to say these are scientifically established facts. And trying to explain them without a mind, I think, is almost always far more absurd than simply postulating that there was a mind behind these things. And another example is the beginning of the universe. And he says, you basically can believe God created it or nothing created it, that non-existence gave rise to all of existence. And that is magical. That is outrageous. That is illogical. It literally is illogical. The principle, or the definition, I should say, of nothing is that it has no properties. It doesn't exist, and therefore there is no property to it, including something like causal power, right? Causal power would be a property of a thing that exists. So if nothing, which has no properties, has causal power, that's self-defeating. Well, the atheist has a savior. They can postulate, instead of the universe coming into existence out of nothing, they can say the universe is actually eternal. It has always existed and never didn't exist. This flies in the face of all science. Alexander Vilenkin, one of the most preeminent cosmologists in the whole world, one time said this: "It is said that an argument is what convinces reasonable men, and a proof is what it takes to convince even an unreasonable man. With the proof now in place, cosmologists can no longer hide behind the possibility of a past eternal universe. There is no escape. They have to face the problem of a cosmic beginning." He said it a little bit softer a few years later in this paper titled The Beginning of the Universe. And here, kind of in his concluding remarks, he says, "The answer to the question, did the universe have a beginning, is it probably did." Okay, so it's a little softer. Listen to this. "We have no viable models of an eternal universe." You will hear atheists say, but what about the Carol Chen model? And what about the oscillating model? And they'll postulate all of these non-evidenced theorems or theories. But you have to understand, not a single one of them is viable. They all have major flaws that either are internally incoherent, or they fly in the face of other well-established facts like the second law of thermodynamics, or they fly in the face of the BGV theorem. The BGV, or Born-Guth-Vilenkin theorem, gives us reason to believe that such a model simply cannot be constructed. Mathematically, it is, and logically, I would argue, but at least according to their mathematics, it is impossible to construe the universe as though it were literally eternal. So here are your three options: God, nothing, or the universe is eternal. So you can be unscientific and fly in the face of all the known science. You can be illogical and ascribe to nothing, the attributes of something. Or you can take the very small leap of reason and say that a mind, which best describes information in the cell, information at the foundation of the universe, the fine-tuning of the universe, and the beginning of the universe, well, I'm going to go ahead and say that thing actually exists. That does it for today. This is Unsafe Media. If you have not done so already, please go down to the description and click on that Patreon link. Without my patrons, I cannot bring this content to you on a consistent basis. It's simply not possible. And if you haven't even considered it, you're probably an Epicurean. Boom. Roasted. Please like, share, subscribe. It really helps out with the algorithm. And until next time, I'm reminding you, trust in God and keep your powder dry.